So let's check in with Salari, the world's saddest YouTuber. Now, we did check out 2 of his videos on the last stream. We watched Addicted to Outrage, Why You Love Being Angry, and also This Job Sucks, Being a YouTuber is Hell Unless You're Huge. So let's check in with Salari. Last time, he was having a pretty bad time, and he was begging people to subscribe to his Patreon, and also that if you unsubscribe from his Patreon, you are committing financial abuse against him. Let's see if he's got anything better to say now.
Do you ever have that moment when you wake up and you're not worried about anything, where for a brief moment after you open your eyes, your mind is free of any troubles, as though your memories have been erased and things have been reset? When I've been through some dark times...
So, like, I wake up like that most days. And most people wake up like that most days, and then they go on with their lives and get their shit done. This guy lays in bed until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, putting sad music on his whining. So he's not having a good time. He's having a pretty bad time, chat. We have to have some sympathy for him. How sad is he? You're going to find out. You're going to find out today.
Times I've relished that moment. No financial issues, no family problems, no impending threats, and no stress. It's a blissful few seconds, but it never lasts very long because
this man is only happy for like 4 seconds a day. The second he wakes up, he's happy for a few seconds, then he remembers what his life's actually like. And this is a UK guy that moved to the US, and he's going to spend a lot of time complaining about the US in this video. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He just wants to be forever asleep. He doesn't want to be dead. He just wants to be in total oblivion forever, not thinking about any of his life actions or consequences.
The gears in your head start turning quickly enough to remind you of reality. You remember that things are a bit of a mess, both for you and everyone else. Some of it you can do something about, some of it is completely out of your control, and that lack of control can be infuriating. It's enough to make a person stay under the covers and fall back asleep just so you can forget again. I'll take a quiet life, a handshake of carbon monoxide. I remember when I moved to...
That's a bit dark. But like this, remember this guy is living in poverty state because he can't make enough money being a YouTuber. He has PTSD from some mysterious thing. Perhaps people unsubscribe from his Patreon. So he refuses to put the fry in the bag. So he wakes up, remembers he's a poor, pathetic YouTuber, and he gets back under the covers while everyone else is going out there and getting fucking things finished, getting job done, taking care of business. Max Mirror joined as a member. Thank you very much, Max Mirror. I do have a new link up on the community tab for anyone that joined as a member. You get access to the Discord. Thank you very much, Max Mirror. Good to see you again. Let's continue. But I'll go back a sec.
I'll take a quiet life, a handshake of carbon monoxide. I remember when I moved to the US back in 2016, the same year that Trump got elected president.
Okay, so why don't you go back? If you don't like living in the US, and you don't like Trump, why don't you go back to the UK?
I and almost everyone else thought that it wouldn't be possible for him to become president.
No, not everyone else. Approximately 50% of people believed he could make it.
After months of following the election cycle and learning more and more about this clown of a man, the thought of someone like Trump reaching...
So the man that can't even get $300 a month from his YouTube career and cries and puts trigger warnings for ideation, he thinks that Trump is a clown. The amount of self-reporting and the amount of oblivious takes that are in this video is kind of astounding.
One of the highest offices in the world just seemed...
It should be me.
Surely the American people won't fall for this, right? Surely they know enough not to drink his snake oil and smile while they gulp it down. Well, it turns out we all got a bit too complacent because on election night, the results kept coming in and
it's happened again. Imagine that.
The more we learned, the bleaker it felt. At one point, it became clear that all the pundits were wrong, and statisticians like Nate Silver were a bunch of frauds. My wife and I...
Yep. Basically, every political commentator is a fraud. It's like, how could this happen? I thought everyone was agreeing with me. I don't understand how something like this could happen. Oh my goodness. The moment when everyone had to wake up and realize that the world wasn't the way they saw it was amazing.
I
Amazing.
started to feel despair well in the pits of our
Suffer.
stomachs because the future was now uncertain. An unexpected cultural shift had happened, and
Oh, no.
even though there were warning signs it was going to happen, we told ourselves that it wouldn't. Like many other people, we were in a bubble, and we didn't see the needle creeping closer and closer.
He is in a bubble. He's a bit of a bubble boy. He lives in I'm pretty sure his wife supports his lazy habits, and that's why he's able to do this. The fact that he have a wife at all is kind of astounding to me. But who could say? Sporkmaster64 with a 10 Hong Kong dollar says, recording this screed from his bed is high art, by the way. When do you see what happens next? There's some fun stuff coming up. Pudding with £2 says, happy global leftist Spurgout week, everyone. It's great. I'm having a great week.
With the assistance of anxiety medication.
Wait, what? Go back. Roll back that tape. Roll back that tape.
Closer and closer. Okay. That night, with the assistance of anxiety medication, I fell asleep. And
oh no, the person I don't like was elected. I need anxiety medication just to sleep so that I can have those few fleeting seconds where I wake up in the morning and forget about my life, and then everything's okay for a fraction of a moment. Holy shit. Maybe you should stop taking the meds, put the fries in the bag, go to the gym, and figure it out.
I woke up that morning greeted by that beautiful but fleeting blissful ignorance, and I'll never forget how, when it dissolved, I remembered what happened the night before, and my need to avoid reality was so strong. I thought to myself, last night was a dream, right? 8 years later, Americans got to do this all over again. But during those years, I think people have come to expect the worst. Oscar Wilde once...
No, I don't see this point. It kind of frustrates me that people think the world is the shittest it's ever been. Totally don't agree. And at least 50% of people are very happy with this week, okay? It's very polarizing, 50-50, but no, everyone doesn't think it's shit. In fact, a lot of people think it's about to get a lot better.
Said that there are only two tragedies in life. One is not getting what you want, and the other is getting it. With all due respect to Mr. Wilde, rest in peace, I think he might have been off the mark then. But I can't blame him, since he didn't live during a time where your racist neighbor, Kevin, was capable of shaping national policies with a single Facebook post. It was hard to...
Oh no, who is Kevin guy? Is Kevin banging his wife, do you think? Racist neighbor Kevin can shape geopolitics by shitposting on Facebook. Base Kevin. I want to know who Kevin is.
To feel any hope during this past US election, even from the start. I remember when the first debate was aired, and the second-hand embarrassment I felt from watching two geriatric sundowning men, Biden and Trump, constantly stumbling over their words and thoughts, incapable of...
I think, Trump did say some pretty silly things. I'm not going to say that he didn't, but I don't think he ever really fumbled over his words. There was one geriatric individual that was fumbling over their words, and they was just thinking about where's their next ice cream bowl coming from. Those are a lot of fun. Not as much fun as the Trump versus Hillary debates, of course, but they are pretty entertaining.
Following through with any question, rambling on like your grandpa at a holiday dinner, telling us all how they're going to use their smarts to make the world a better place for everyone. This is a joke.
Well, so Trump's been in power for like 48 hours, and it's actually very impressive what he's able to accomplish on the first day. Now, will he be able to keep up this level of energy for the next 4 years? Well, that remains to be seen. Holding out hope that it does, but I think that we had like a pretty big peak on the first day. It'll probably get a bit more average as we go along, but hopefully there's some more surprises coming up this week as well.
Right? Like, these two should be in bed right now, but here they are telling millions of Americans that...
The man that's in bed, he's like, I don't get it. These old guys should be in bed like me. How low energy is this guy? Like, it's actually kind of interesting just how much energy Trump does have for being so out of shape. And for his age as well, because he is quite old. I'm not going to pretend he isn't. Maybe it's his diet of McDonald's and Diet Coke. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's just the answer, is just to be busy and drink a lot of Diet Coke for that sweet aspartame. Maybe it's like actually the secret sauce or something. George Ross Studio, with a 5 says, is this the same dude who was complaining that subs were unsubbing from his channel? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's the same guy who claims that if you unsubscribe from him, it's abuse. If you unsubscribe from his Patreon, it's financial abuse. Salari's back on the menu, boys.
They deserve their vote. And when they could string together a coherent sentence, all it really amounted to was, I'm not as bad as the other guy. People didn't
That's
need...
not true, though. Now, there are a lot of political races that you have where it's just like the lesser of two evils. But in many ways, and I think that Trump's actually shown that he is delivering what he promised so far, at least. Now, the first term, I was a little bit disappointed for a lot of it because it was he was taking the bit of the soft bat in the first term around. I thought that he was going to wait until the second term, which he seems to have been, to do all the hard hitting stuff. So I'm happy to see what's happening now. But I'll admit, I was a little bit disappointed in the first term. But no, it wasn't the lesser of two evils. It's one person that seems to be delivering on what they had, and the other person that would have just been more of the same. Also, Aiken with a 2 says drugs, dollars, tattoos. He could be Ricada. Well, he doesn't have any money though. This guy. He's just got all he's got is Ambien and stay in bed until 4 o'clock.
To be reminded of that, though, American elections have always been about voting for the lesser of two evils.
Not true.
No one can truly be
like, was it oh shit, I forgot the name. What was it like? There was like the president that you guys know what I'm talking about. It was like the entire map was red. Was that Roosevelt? Or was it I mean, my history's not good, but someone will correct me in chat almost immediately, so I'm just going to steal their answer. But no, there have been times, many times, in fact. Reagan, thank you, sorry. Where people didn't just vote for the lesser evil, they voted in force for who they thought was the best party. And in Trump's case, in this one, he won all the swing states. Dumb Kiwi, you got me. Well, I'm not a Kiwi though. I'm from Australia.
Enthusiastic about exercising their right to vote when all they're really doing is trying to mitigate damage, like using a sheet of paper to slow down a speeding bullet. It was bad. Truly bad.
Bad.
I don't blame anyone for thinking that we were doomed if these two were our only options. Both of them are so old that they won't live long enough to see the long-term effect of their policies. It's like someone cranking up the TV volume too loud and then leaving the room and taking the remote with them.
This is such a lazy analogy. It's kind of like, I think there's a lot of self-reporting about this guy's edit, like his video. Okay, I'll like his video. There you go. That's the least I can do. It's like throwing pennies to a homeless man. Oh my goodness. His analogy is, it's like somebody taking the remote out of the living room. What? So you just have to get off the couch and go get it? Oh wow, how terrible. That sounds really strenuous. Oh my gosh. There was Troy with a $3 Shibi super sticker. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And Twitch Studio says, where's he holding the microphone tucked in? He's got it on the thing. This is one of the pet peeves of mine as well, is when people use a lavalier mic, instead of like attaching it to their shirt, they like hold it close. It's like a vibe, I guess people do. They're like, hey guys, this is me, and like I've got my lav mic and I'm just holding it really close to my mouth. I don't like it when people do that. Use your microphones correctly. They're a lav mic for a reason, wankers. But it's kind of like a little bit of a silly thing for me to complain about. The mic is in his ass. It sounds like it. Aspen Formula 2 says, nothing is less evil than genocide by Joe. And there we go. Let's continue.
You don't have to stick around, but now you've got to get up off your ass and fix the problem. Biden dropped out after his own party reminded him that he's 82 years old. I assume he forgot. And suggested that he spends his twilight years watching Wheel of Fortune and Law and Order reruns.
I kind of like that idea. I think that like Sleepy Joe just, enjoying Wheel of Fortune is like kind of I'm okay with that. I have a lot of problems with Biden, but he gets to enjoy it to be an old man now, I guess.
After he stepped down, the Democrats chose Kamala Harris as his replacement. She may have been the current vice president, so to many, she might have been the most obvious choice. But in a country full of racists and sexists, it's safe to say that many Americans weren't enamored with the idea of voting for a woman of color.
That's not why people did not vote for Kamala because she was a woman and a person of color. They didn't vote for her because she stood for nothing except not being Trump. The reason they picked her is that because she had name brand recognition, they thought that their voter base was too stupid to vote for another person. So they had to put the one person whose name was attached to Joe in some way, shape, or form. And it's just such a cope when the people say this, like, oh, people didn't vote for her because she was a woman of color. It's like, well, why should a woman of color be the president? Shouldn't it be a woman of excellence, a woman that has succeeded in something apart from licking pole? She didn't do anything. She had no policies except, I'm not Trump. Watch out, he's going to take away abortion. He hasn't done it yet, and I would be shocked if he does. I guess, I would be very, very surprised if he made abortion illegal. I mean, he's had 2 wives and has sex with porn stars. You think that man's going to make abortion illegal? I don't think so. Two Studio says watching Law and Order reruns like E. Jean Carroll made her millions. Not exactly sure what there's a reference to, but thank you.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the only reason the Democrats lost, but it's safe to say that it contributed to it.
No,
For 4 years,
don't think so.
they coasted on the premise of them being the lesser evil, and in a time where people need more radical changes, they didn't do enough to remind people why they were worth your vote. I'll admit that
That's true, though.
have more privileges.
All they said is, don't you want to abort as many babies as you can? That's basically exactly their campaign after Kamala was the front runner.
Than most people, given that I'm a white...
Right, I'm going to go back. I want to listen to his that's that's a very, very uncharitable pause. Oh well.
I'll admit that I have more privileges than most people, given that I'm...
That's the thing, he doesn't. A YouTuber that makes $300 a month actually doesn't have that much privileges. The privilege he does have is being married to a wife, a dommy mommy that takes care of him, apparently. Because that is a privilege, because he gets to lay in bed until 4 p.m.
a white-skinned man, but all I really got out of their tenure was 4 years of waking up each morning without having to see what new acts Trump's circus was bringing to town. It was nice to have a break, but eventually you have to return to reality, and in this case, the reality is that a country like America deserves a leader like Trump, because he represents all of the country's worst virtues. Liberal figures in politics on the news like to claim that America is better than...
You get what you fucking deserve, America. I think America is pretty, as a majority of people, literally a majority, because he did win by the majority, the popular vote, and what is it called? The Electoral College. Yeah, America is very happy with what they got there so far, and slightly less than 50% are very unhappy, but they're going to be fine once they start being able to pay for gas again, and the groceries start going down in price. At least I hope so. Twitter Studio says her grape claims were literally the storyline of a 90s Law and Order episode, not her memoirs. Oh, I see. Thank you very much. And Tiny Gray says for £2, abortions for some, many flags for other. Oh yes, that's the Kang and Kodos running for president from The Simpsons, right? That's a great episode. Abortions for some, tiny American flags for the others. Yay! Very good. Getting in the sneaky Simpsons reference in there.
This, but they're wrong. Trump is America, a greedy, self-absorbed, self-righteous loudmouth who loves to tell everyone that they're the best and can only get ahead by stepping on the feet of others. A thug in an expensive tuxedo that will happily shoot at your feet to make you dance for their amusement. A criminal one in a country that's happy to send criminals to their death. So...
Okay, let's be honest. There are some crimes that do deserve death. Now, I believe in the death penalty in principle, but in practice, not so much, because you can never really be unless it's incredibly incriminating evidence. I don't think there should be the death penalty because mistakes happen. DNA evidence has been absolved a lot of people in the past. But in theory, things like murder, rape, everything like that, yeah, that deserves the death penalty, in my opinion. Why should these people suck out hundreds of thousands of dollars from taxpayers so they can be kept alive in a box for a long time? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, the problem is that the government can't necessarily be trusted to find these people accurately. That's my issue with the death penalty. Not the principle of it, just the execution of it, I would say, if it's a bit of a pun there.
Here we go again.
Here we go again, boys.
4 years of hell being funneled directly into your newsfeed every morning. Another 4 years...
Just turn off your PC and go outside, bro. being tunneled into a newsfeed. The newsfeed algorithms, the people like this, they're the people that love that content the most. This guy who talks about how he hates seeing political stuff in his newsfeed is exactly the kind of person that interacts with it and gets a big boost in the algorithm and gets paid and pays these companies with these ad dollars, right? This person, if you just stop looking at the news if you don't like it, you can't change it, especially since you're a UK guy in America that can't even vote. Like, what are you doing?
Years of savoring those brief, wonderful waking moments before reality hits and hoping that things don't get worse. We all get another stay in the "this is fine" room, watching the flames climb up the walls, hoping that someone will knock on the door and give you a fully charged fire extinguisher. My world's on fire. How about yours? I don't really like it.
No.
Now I'm getting bored. One word comes to mind when I think of
Man that lies in bed all day is bored and making smash mouth references. Very good. Very clever. So smart.
this: futility. Now, I'm a permanent resident here, not a citizen, so I don't get to vote, even though I live here. Stupid, I know, but
Why should you be able to vote? And immigrants can vote. You're a permanent resident. Why don't you become a citizen? You know what I bet? I bet his wife is actually is the American. That's why he's there. And he's just living rent-free in his wife's house, not supplying anything, because he spends all of his money on weed and antidepressants. Just get your citizenship, bro. Then you can vote. That's how it works in America.
whatever. As Emma Goldman once said, if voting changed anything, then they'd make it illegal. I try not to be so cynical myself, but she may have a point when it comes to American elections. Voting is supposed to be one of the most powerful tools the public has to make positive change, and this is basically true. Your voice may be tiny in the context of an election, but it has more sway than something like a tweet, unless it's Kevin. Votes don't feel like enough anymore, though. Too much.
Wait, so he's saying that you can't change the world with voting, but you can change it if you're like a racist asshole on Facebook or something. So Kevin can change the world. He can't change the world because he's decided to remain a permanent resident rather than becoming a citizen. Okay.
Needs to be done, and by waiting 4 years to hopefully be heard doesn't really cut it when there's so much at stake. You never know what will come next, how things will change for the worst, and you're not even sure who to trust anymore. The future teaches us to be alone, the present to be afraid and cold. Things need to be...
What kind of way to live is this? What did he say? The future teaches us, the present teaches us to be cold and alone, and the future teaches us to be scared. What, like, oh, listen, that's some dark pill stuff there. What's going on, buddy?
The future teaches us to be alone.
The future teaches us to be alone.
The present to be afraid and cold.
The present to be cold and alone. This is some black pill shit. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Holy shit. I'm like, I don't know, like when I see like this, someone like this so pathetic, I'm getting energy. I'm like maybe he's got no energy because I'm sapping all of it because I'm having a bit of a fun here. Holy shit. If you wanna say that, like say that shit, then you deserve what you get. If you believe that the present teaches you to be lonely, then you deserve to be alone. Oh my god. Tourist Studio says $5. So he wrote a script, pointed his cam at the pillow, got into bed, and clutched his mic, and then hit record. Yes. Wait until you see him get out of bed, and he's wearing a big red suit. It's gonna get brighter, maybe. We'll see.
Things need to be done now.
Wait, I gotta address this in the chat. Was one other person. Yes, Bob Tube knows what it's about. Holding a lapel mic. Embarrassing. Just use it. Use the lapel.
Of women, people of color, trans people, and the poor are at risk.
There you go. I remember
and they don't have the luxury of waiting. Time is for the privileged few who don't have to worry too much about what tomorrow will bring. How long would you want to wait when you're stuck in a room with a ticking time bomb? Just go back to bed and cover your head with a pillow. When a bomb...
What kind of attitude is that? You've got a ticking time bomb. Just stick your head in the sand and forget about it, and maybe things will work out. No, go do something about it, you retard. What the fuck?
Ticks in your bedroom, but it can't be heard. Does it really exist?
Yes.
The popularity of politically charged content has become a useful tool for bringing attention to a variety of social issues. It's found its way into millions of people's feeds as digestible TikTok bites, 280 character long snippets, hearty YouTube video essayists, and lengthy live streams hosted.
All right, here's the thing. People criticize short content and things like tweets, like 265 characters or whatever. If you can't convey your idea in a succinct, short tweet, maybe your idea is not worth that much anyway.
By people who seem to have a wealth of knowledge on global politics. It makes sense though. Traditional news outlets have become an inefficient, inconvenient method of receiving information, unless you're retired and have all the time in the world to hear it from the mouth of a news anchor. School and work can be exhausting, so
How would he know? He doesn't have a job.
bite-sized information is convenient for the person on the go. Do what you need to do, let the algorithm decide for you, and just absorb. I'm not criticizing you for this though, and I'd be a hypocrite if I said that I wasn't part of this cycle. Being informed is important. It's part of a healthy diet when consumed in moderation, but poisonous when you overindulge. I
It's true.
think
It's all my
great that
fault.
online content has helped
Thank you,
so many
Georgia Studio.
people understand what needs to be fixed, but given the state of things, I also think it's instilled a sense of powerlessness in us, something that feels all the more potent when information is served without a side of solutions. You get to hear about the problems, but you're
No, you take in information and then you come up with a solution yourself. He literally wants to be hand-fed. And lying in bed does make you more exhausted. Like, lying in bed is actually exhausting. Like, if you over relaxation and not getting exercise makes you more lazy. It's very true. Like, yeah, it feels like shit when you get out of bed and you have to go to the gym, but like the next day you feel better. You have more energy. He's just in this permanent cycle where he looks at his analytics, looks at his Patreon, feels like he's not making enough money, complains, lies in bed, waits till his wife brings him food and money because he's like a house cat. But at least house cats can provide some joy to their owners. What does this guy provide? Except for joy to me. And that's because I'm making fun of him.
just left there aimless, desperate to right the wrongs of the world, angry at how it got this bad. Despite all your rage, you're still just a rat in a
Oh
cage.
my God.
Somewhere along the way, though, people started believing that the act of consuming content and spreading it around is the same as taking action. That if something
This is such a self-report saying that people start to think that sharing content, liking videos and stuff is actual social activism. That's because that's what he does. He thinks that by liking tweets or retweeting or changing his profile picture to be the French flag or some shit makes a difference in the world. Instead of going out there and doing something.
gets in front of enough eyes and ears, then surely something will change, and that the collective power of the internet will inspire something good to happen. It's an admirable effort for sure, but that's not how the internet works. That's not how the way the world works. Algorithms are designed to make you feel like a powerful, well-informed, highly engaged individual
No,
whose actions
they're
on
not. They're not actually designed to do that at all. They're just designed to make you consume as much as possible. It doesn't make you feel empowered. It doesn't make you feel smart. If you're going to watch 8 hours of cat videos, if they're served to you, then it's going to serve you 8 hours of cat videos. He likes to think that because he thinks that he's a smart and well-informed person because he spent a little bit of time watching YouTube shorts or TikTok reels or whatever before he went back to gooning and waiting for his wife to bring him food. So he doesn't even have to leave his bed. He won't even leave. He won't even get off the couch to pick up the remote. You think he's going to go out there and make changes in the world? No, of course not. George Studio with another two. Big support today from George Studio. It says James Cameron shot this, by the way. Yeah, I love it how it's got like the sad violin music and he's color shifted it to be blue. Like he read like somewhere like he was watching the Matrix reviews or something. It's like, did you know that every shot where he's in the Matrix, it's got a green and blue cast because that makes you feel slightly sickly. And then every time you're in the real world, there's like a red cast because that's like the warm and comforting. Like he's trying really hard. He's trying really hard here to put effort into his low effort video.
social media amount to something great. You say or share something that's important, it gets seen by a bunch of people, maybe someone important, and suddenly
Save me, Daddy Hassan. Hassan, why aren't you watching my tweets and making me one of your elite team? I need money. Help me, BreadTube Sphere.
you feel like it's worth it. They're seeing what needs to be seen, and someone out there with more clout and power will finally do something.
Have you noticed this guy's always just complaining to like the higher authority on YouTube? He's like, oh, if only Contrabytes would watch my videos, it should be me. If only Hassan would watch my videos and like my tweets, it could be me. It's so unfair. Why can't I be one of the big YouTubers? Like, this guy's entire personality is wrapped up in being an important YouTuber. That's why he refuses to go get a job, even though he's literally living in poverty wages.
Here's where that pesky cynicism kicks
And
in.
he doesn't even do a lot of work, by the way. He releases like one video a month.
No, or reality, whatever you want to call it. It's not action, it's words within an echo chamber being bounced around and parroted by other people who care.
Yep, the echo chamber is
Social
real.
media makes you feel powerful because it surrounds you with people who are willing to offer you power and want power in return. What's said there rarely escapes the walls of the echo chamber, but with enough light.
This guy's like, he's realizing in real time that his entire sphere is just being curated to make him feel like he's safe in his own little world. And he's completely surrounded by people with the same opinion of him. That's why he thinks that the world is ending, that everyone hates the state of the things that is going on. He's never been confronted with someone else's opinion or a different political point of view.
And reposts, it's easy to be convinced that what's been said has been heard across the world, and the odds of things changing suddenly climbs drastically. A pleasant lie, like a pat on a child's head from a parent who's proud of them just for trying to draw a horse. Did you draw that yourself? Let's put that on the fridge. I promise.
Wait, go back. I want to see this. I want to see his drawing.
Did you draw that yourself? Let's put that on the fridge.
Look at this. By Salari, age 50, 54? What? 54 and a half? Embarrassing. Like, come on, even if you're trying to do like a shitty horse, at least do a better job than this.
I promise you, I'm trying to not be cynical here, just realistic. I know it doesn't feel very good. I don't like it either, and I should probably just go back to bed.
No! No, you should get out of bed and get some shit done. Also, you shouldn't have released, like, you had, like, it's one thing to fuck up on a live stream because, you know, things happen when you're doing things live. You don't say things correctly. Maybe you try and you get spell words wrong. You call someone kibs or something like that happens, right? But if you're getting a premeditated, pre-recorded video, you can make any story you want. This is what he chose. This is what he thought was the best that he could do. He thought that those song lyrics were so clever. Dave with a £5 says, proper food, sleep, and exercise does wonder for your well-being. Leading by example is what actually changes people's mind, not social media posts. Very true. Hold on a second. That reminds me of something. Let me see if I can find this. That reminds me of one of my favorite starter post packs. I think I should be able to find this. Yeah, here it is. It's on Reddit, so you'll have to forgive me for it, but it is what it is. It's the damn, why do I feel so good all the time starter pack? And you can see there's no TikTok, Netflix, weed, Instagram, Pornhub, Coke, Reddit, going exercising, eating vegetables, sleep, spending time with friends, exercising. This is just true. Like, I know it's just the reality, right? If you look after yourself, then you feel better. It's not rocket surgery, but for some reason, this is so hard for some people to understand.
How'd I get here? You know, actually, come to think of it, we find ourselves thinking that a lot these days.
I don't know. I don't actually think that very often. Like, how did I end up here? That's because I haven't led a life of regret.
Did we get here? I'm sure it's a question people have been asking for hundreds, if not thousands of years now. Everything always seems to get worse, and we somehow never see it coming.
No, that's not true. Now, yeah, there are some problems with modern world, particularly it's very difficult for young people to find advancement in careers at the moment. Housing prices are very high, of course, but living now is basically the best time to live in the entirety of human history. Give or take 20 years, of course, something like that. Like, imagine being born during the Vietnam War, and you have to think about being drafted and fighting in a country and dying for a cause you don't believe in. Now, this guy didn't have to do that, of course, because he's not an American. Neither am I, by the way. But, like, that's a terrifying idea. And it's much worse than, like, his life is so good. He gets to lie in bed all day and make complaints on YouTube. And he's complaining about being in a terrible time of life. Like, I'm sorry, are you going to die from the Black Death? Do you have to worry about actually just getting dysentery and dying on the Oregon Trail? No, you don't. The fattest people, the poorest people today are the fattest people. Like, we live in such a level of excess. Like, the poorest among us live like kings from the past. It's honestly, I know a lot of people don't disagree with my take, but this is the best time to live in the entirety of all human history, and it only gets better. It only gets better. Scumbag Josh with a $5 says this video is the embodiment of the song "Last Resort" by Papa Roach. Indeed. And Sporkmaster with another 10 Hong Kongian dollars says this guy say nothing and the ability, nothing to say and the ability to say it. Very true. Very true.
There are so many brilliant minds out there who are able to properly analyze the present and the past, but times being what they are, it's become impossible to predict what comes next. So the best we can do now is react or watch other people react to stuff so we can make some sense of things.
That's all he does. He just watches reaction videos all day. It's like, well, I guess I can't predict the fucking future, so I'll just watch react videos all day. I'll just react to the stimulus that's immediately being presented to me. Little Virtuoso says, this, the type of dude to let a high school breakup affect him still to this day, possibly. Maybe that's why he left the UK. Like, if America's so bad, why doesn't he just go back to merry old England?
Or perhaps even borrow someone's opinions to pass off as your own in an online argument. You know the type. The person who pays for Discord Nitro just so they can make use of the increased character limit.
Holy shit. Discord Nitro, boys. Getting catch strays. That's what I assume that this guy is self-projecting here a lot. He sounds like a kind of guy that spends all day on Discord.
Who suspiciously sounds like a number of notable online pundits when they talk. I don't want to undermine people's efforts to stay informed by paying attention to what people have to stay online, but as time has gone by, I've started to develop less faith in internet discourse. Earlier on, I felt like it was a...
No! What do you mean? What do you mean my podcast isn't the Greek philosophy dome of today? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean no one's listening to my ideas? I don't know. What do you mean everything I did was worthless? Oh, how could it be? No one's listening to me online. How terrible.
A vehicle for positive change, and in some ways it is, at least on an individual level. But when an algorithm herds you into a group of like-minded people who are all attempting to belong peacefully with each other and not rock the boat with a dissenting opinion, I don't think anything can really be achieved other than a consensus. And even then, that often gravitates...
So don't use Reddit. Don't use Reddit. Perhaps go outside your sphere of influence and talk to people you disagree with. This is the problem, though, because this guy is like, he's complaining that everyone around him is curated by the algorithm so that he's surrounded in an echo chamber. But he's the exact kind of guy that would ban or block someone that he disagrees with because he doesn't want to see their opinion on his timeline. He probably actively curates his own sphere so that he doesn't have to listen to opposing opinions. And he complains that, like, why are we all the same person? It's a design of your own making. Congratulations. You set yourself up. You played yourself, boy. Sol on the Lich with an ARS 50. Where is that from? I don't know. Drumpf is a bully. Yeah, the bully that just stopped 2 Tard fights. So terrible. Please bully harder. Like, unironically, like, you kind of want a bully as a leader. Like, you do, because if it's a choice between like having a weak individual and a strong person, even if the strong person is perhaps not fair at all times, it's probably better to have the bully than the person being bullied as a leader. That's like would you rather have Trump? Would you rather have Trudeau? Basically, is what I'm saying.
It's around figures who facilitate these discussions. Online discourse has become like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. I've spoken about this in the past, but it also doesn't help when a personality's only goal is to get people pissed off about something until the next thing comes along. People know there's a million reasons to be angry, but they're always looking for a target, even if that target has no meaningful bearing on them personally or even the lives of others. This format is fueled more often than not by reacting to content, like an article or a video that a person with an audience...
I mean, I'm doing that right now, right? I'm reacting to his content. I think what he's specifically talking about is an example from his own sphere. Because in the breadtube sphere or the leftist sphere, they're constantly going around reacting to things that they think is unacceptable and trying to form like cancel bans, essentially, or block bans or report bans. And I think it seems like he's actually realizing what he's accomplished now. And it's like he's kind of saying it towards the audience, but I think he's realizing it, at least on a subconscious level. He's finally understanding what he's actually been doing with his life, and it's a waste of time.
Believes will rile up their followers enough to eventually come back for another dose, get them angry,
Another
and
dose
send
of
them on their
depressing.
way to unleash that anger via tweets and comments. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it isn't, but when it is, someone else with an audience sees it and decides to start feasting on the sloppy seconds,
It's
trying their
true.
best
YouTube
to
slop
keep the
slop
spark of
feed.
anger alive, aspiring to outdo the outrage generated by their predecessor. Once they've chewed up that anger and regurgitated it into the ears of their minions, they send them off with renewed vigor. Travel to social media, my minions.
Why is Aaron catching strays on this video? Come on now. Poor Aaron. Total slop fest. It is. It's a bit of a slop fest tonight, but it's all right. It's all right. It is what it is. We're having fun.
Fight the good fight. Use your precious time on this earth to harass a stranger on the internet. Make your parents proud. Still, there are people
I'm
out
being called out, I guess. I'm using my precious time on this earth to harass a stranger, apparently. True, but I'm having a good time. And, what is it like that comic like? Where it's like he's getting sad, but I'm getting happier. So the net benefit of the world is that there's a net increase in happiness. So it's okay, right?
there with genuinely noble intentions, and I won't belittle their efforts to make the world a better place. It's the people who see real injustice and want others to share their concerns and fears. They want to be heard even though everything they say in real life falls on deaf ears, and they absolutely do deserve to be heard.
It's the more self-reporting. Like this is what he's saying is he wants to be heard. He desperately is trying to be heard, but nobody's listening, except for me, apparently.
I just think that at this point we need to do more than just talk. Words are just air, or data in this case. Action is what matters, and social media has made people forget this. Obviously, not everyone out there is in a position where they're able to get out there and make a change. I accept that. And if this is you, then I'm not criticizing you. Your limitations are valid, and that should be recognized as such.
No, he's only criticizing you if you unsubscribe from his Patreon, because that's financial domination and abuse.
I think we have to accept that content won't save the world or change enough minds for it to make a difference, especially when it can only be true.
Wait a minute, you mean this Mr. Beast video isn't going to change the world? No, I've been lied to. Oh dear, how sad, how sad. Although Mr. Beast actually does change the world in his own way, but a guy like this doesn't. That's what's really sad for him.
Truly heard within echo chambers. There's a time for talk and there's a time for action, and we are way past the time for talk now. But just look at all this garbage in the world. How am I supposed to clean it up? How can I possibly fix injustice, climate change, hunger, poverty, genocide, human rights violations, and all the other things which require effort from multiple governments around the world to fix?
Oh, you just do the best that you can in your own life, in your own community, and that's enough to make change in the world. You don't have to try and tackle all these giant, insurmountable things. You just live a good life, you set a good example, and try and, pay it forward to your community. That's how you make change in the world. It's slow, and it's steady, and it's boring, but it's the way that it happens, and that's the best thing you can do. And you feel great doing it. It takes a while, but it pays back in dividends. Or you can just stay in bed, exactly.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can vote, sure, but chances
Wait, did he just say
are
you
that-
can't? It's like, well, how do you... Like, I just told you can. Just by being a good person and trying to pay it forward to your community. But he's like, no, you just can't. You can't do anything. Well, you may as well just give up then. I guess we just solved it, right? We're going to listen to that again. Did he actually just say you can't make any change in the world? Ridiculous. Like, he's criticizing Trump quite a bit, but, like, there's an example right there of someone that's making an immense amount of change in the world. And he started off as just a guy, right? Everyone starts off like shitting in their diapers.
You're not going to fix these things.
You're not going to
with a
fix
vote,
anything.
and you're not going to fix it with a post online, regardless of how many people see it. By the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't vote. By the way, you absolutely should.
I'm going to
In
go
the
back.
world, content
All right, here we go.
won't
Want to
save
go back.
the world or change enough minds for it to make a difference, especially when it can only be truly heard within echo chambers. There's a time for talk and there's a time for action, and
Okay.
we are way past the time for talk now. But just look at
Is he
all this-
advocating for violence? The time for talk is ended. What do you mean by that, Salari? What do you mean the time for talk is ended? I mean, I guess he's never heard of the phrase "the pen is mightier than the sword," but we'll see. What is this? What is this weird symbol? What the hell is this? It's like a looking. I'm looking at an unknown from Pokemon or something. Can someone tell me what this denomination is? For 15s, whatever these squiggles are, the left learned nothing from this election, and they will lose again in 2028. I love every moment of Trump's America thus far. Very good. It's Trump coin. Okay, thank you. It's Thai? No, Thai baht, really? Okay, well, thank you, Thai bros, if that's true.
Garbage in the world. How am I supposed to clean that up? How can I possibly
It's
fix
Greek, I don't know.
injustice, climate change, hunger, poverty,
Yes, the pen is
genocide,
mightier.
human rights violations, and all the other things which require effort from multiple governments around the world to fix? Well, you can't.
Okay, you can't fix anything, guys. Just give up. Just fucking give up. Let's just wait. Let's just lie in bed, order Uber Eats, and just wait till the inevitable heat death of the universe. Let's just fucking give up.
I mean, you can vote, sure, but chances are that you're not going to fix these things with a vote. And
except people voted Trump in, and then there's an immense amount of things changing on day one. So it seems like that actually isn't true. When you vote for somebody with convictions, that actually is going to change something. Seems like just all of the previous Democratic candidates and a lot of the Republican candidates were just not doing anything. And now there's someone that's actually doing something, and that's what makes you so mad. So mad that you have to stay in bed all day.
you're not going to fix it with a post online, regardless of how many people see
Unless
it.
you're Kevin, right?
By the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't vote, by the way, you absolutely should. But if we're being realistic, then voting is a very long-term solution to these issues. Okay, look.
Yeah, sure. Voting does take a long time. Now, I hate this scene transition, but there's a few little details here I want you to see. So he goes from the scene. I'll say something nice about him as well. You know, I feel like I should do that. It's like the compliment sandwich, right? So he's in bed.
Is a
First,
very long-term solution to these issues. Okay, look. What I
all right, so his clothes change. Continuity errors. Don't like that, bro. You should have been wearing this red suit all along. This seal is pretty cool, though. It's like it looks like Yuki from the Kaiyukan. Have you guys seen this seal before? Yuki. That's actually my local aquarium. But it's this very, very poachy. It's so adorable. It's so adorable. I mean, I guess this type of seal can exist in other places, but it's so adorable, this type of seal. And there's like lots of cute videos of her, and they poke her nose in, and like it comes out. It's so funny. Let me see if I can find this one. It's so good. Where's the nose punching? Not punching, but poking in one. This seal is so adorable. This is it. This is it, I think. All right, let's see. I'm not sure if this is the actual video I was hoping for, but it says, I visited the real Yuki and bought my mini Yuki to see her. Let's see. This is a person going to the Kaiyukan in Osaka. So I've actually seen Yuki in person. This is like Japan's answer to Mudang. This seal is so adorable. Look at her. Look at her. Oh. And they poke her nose in and stuff, and it's so cute. Let's see. Are they going to do it? Oh, they put a little tummy. That's so cute. Mudang one. Yeah, Mudang one. These seals, like their heads just like, they can become perfect balls. It's so great. Japan's answer to Harambe. No, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted by this seal. But that's my seal of approval. All right, where were we? Back to Salari. All right, so he's just going to bed, but there's a detail here I want you to see. First of all, look at his clock over here. Now, I know that this is small, but I'll read it out for you, and we can enhance it if we really need to, but it's 3:52 p.m. I assume p.m. I don't think he's filming at a.m. because his wife's not on the bed. Maybe they sleep in separate beds. I don't know, but I'm going to assume she's at work, and he's recording his YouTube video at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is fine. You can work at any time as a YouTuber, but if you're going to work for your own schedule, maybe get a start a bit earlier in the day. Pirate Skeleton, which is with $5. I was going to make a pirate software joke, but I decided not to. This dude hasn't realized yet that voting for the status quo maintains the status quo. Very true, very true. All right, let's remember the time frame though.
Think is that
so there's about 10 minutes left of this video.
You, me, and everyone else who's able to do and should do is take action and make things better for other people, even if it's just in
Oh, it did this. Did you notice that? He did like a color shift as well. It started off that like blue color, and now he's trying to shift it more towards orange, but it just comes out sickly green.
Tiniest of ways on the tiniest of levels. I live in a large city, and practically every time I drive somewhere, I see someone on the side of the road asking for money. They have no home, no food, and more than likely no place to sleep. Now, even though I
mean, they're sleeping outside, so they have a place to sleep. No, it's very sad that they're homeless. All right, let's continue.
Generally pay for everything with my card, I always keep physical money in my wallet for the sole purpose of giving it to people who need it. My wife and I aren't exactly wealthy by any means, so we're not in a position where we can hand out $20 bills every time we need to pick up some eggs.
Like giving money to the homeless, while it's nice in theory, it doesn't really help them because they're just going to use it to go buy booze. And if you can't have enough to even feed your own house first, you probably shouldn't be giving money out. I mean, it's a nice thing in theory, but the reality is that they're just using it to buy booze or drugs.
But it's something. Now, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here. But
yes, you are.
The reason I started doing this is because
to feel better
I
about yourself.
bear to see how unhoused people were treated by the general public.
Unhoused people? Wouldn't want to offend any of the homeless people watching on their smartphones.
They're either treated terribly by some arsehole in a luxury car, or the cops get called to take them away because they're bringing...
Wait, what is this? What is this fan fiction? Like, he's like, they're treated horribly by people in luxury cars. Like, what? I've never seen someone in a luxury car drive past and abuse homeless people. That's like evil Patrick Bateman fan fiction, I think. Like, maybe it's happened once in history. I'm sure everything's happened once in history, right? But like, he's making up this story where like the rich, evil people are just driving past in their luxury Lamborghinis or some shit, pulling over, beating up homeless people, and then getting back in their car while he, the poor, destitute YouTuber, is handing out the little money that he has so they can go get buzzed while like cheap wine or something.
And down the vibe near the 7-Eleven. When I was in the UK recently, I saw an unhoused person on the high street, and right there next to him was a woman who was just talking to him. I wasn't able to eavesdrop much, but she asked him how he was, if he had any health issues, and if he had somewhere to stay that night. I may have helped out a couple of people by giving them a few dollars to buy some food, but...
They didn't buy food, they bought booze. And you realize that he's realizing in real time that the woman who was actually willing to talk to these people and offer them to help them in some way did so much more for him, and it didn't cost her anything. Like, he just wants to be able to throw a couple dollars and feel good about himself, because it's not about helping the homeless, it's about making himself feel better, because helping the homeless actually requires sacrifice. Like working, like taking them to his kitchen, a soup kitchen, like feeding them yourself, trying to find them employment, things like that. It takes a lot of effort, and it's hard. It's not easy. So he sees this woman who's actually trying to help them, who's generally trying to do something to get them a better situation rather than just feel good about herself. And he has this cognitive dissonance where he realizes he's being a piece of shit. Because he thought that if he could just buy them one more can of beer, then maybe he would be a good person, but it doesn't make you a good person.
It made what I do seem so half-hearted by comparison.
Exactly.
I don't know what came of that conversation, but...
He didn't even bother to stay. He saw a woman doing some real effort, and he didn't even have time to see how it resolved. Or he didn't go over there and say, hey, can I help too? He's like, well, I've got to get back to bed, or get back on Discord so I can play Overwatch with the bros, because they need their Discord kitten to support them. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Blazy with a $5 says, if Nick and Aaron are in a burning building, do you save Nick, save B, have a drink at Stoney's with Sean? Well, out of those options, it's absolutely have a drink at Stoney's with Sean. If it was just save Nick or save Aaron, was it save? I assume you say save Nick, and it's like option A is save Nick, then B is save Nick as well. If I had to save one well, no, I'm just gonna go to Stoney's. I'm not even gonna think about it. Stoney's with Sean is absolutely the answer there. Don't simp for homeless people. They get kicked out of shelters. Don't you simp for homeless people? They get kicked out of shelters for starting fights, destroying property, stealing and selling drugs. They're awful. The reality is that most homeless people are homeless for mental health problems, not for poverty problems. So if you give them money, it doesn't really help them anyway. Changing their lifestyle is very, very difficult. Of course, there are some exceptions. And, do actually sacrificing, like this woman in his story did, to help them is a very virtuous thing. I can would say that it's very something to be proud of. But just giving them money is like a short-term solution that doesn't help. It's exactly the saying of like, give a man a fish or teach a man to fish. And that's what he's doing. He's giving them fish, but actually what he's doing is giving them booze money. And Aram Amin with 20,000 IDR says, what kind of financial abuse is this? It's the best kind of financial abuse because he's not getting any money from this video.
This beautiful small gesture of showing compassion.
It's not a small gesture, by the way.
A human being who desperately really needed it really resonated with me. When I looked at my feeds online later that day and saw
so he literally didn't stick around because he had to go home and check his online presence.
Dozens of people arguing about some politics and talking about what could be done to fix things and who's to blame, while sharing links of different articles to back up what they're saying. It all just felt very small compared to that one woman asking another human being whether they were okay and if they needed help. I think that's what we need more of. I don't think people should put on blinders and completely ignore what's happening in the world, but I do think we need to rethink what counts as positive change. The world is in such a horrible state, and the worse it gets, the more ineffectual we feel. Think of the world like it's a vase. It drops once, but it doesn't look so bad, so you glue it back together, but it keeps getting knocked down over and over again, and each time it becomes harder to fix. So eventually you stop fixing it and spend your time looking for someone to blame, figuring out why they keep smashing it and whether there's any...
Maybe he should stop spending money on stock footage and start saving and investing that money instead. Are you okay? Oh dear. The world is like a vase. It keeps breaking and breaking, and then it gets too hard to fix, so you just let it be destroyed. No, there are plenty of beautiful, wonderful places in the world you can visit today. It's not as bad as people seem, and it's going to be fine going forward. Sure, bad things happen, but a lot of good things happen too. That's just the way that life works. Oh my God, the world is broken beyond repair. Look, the world will be fine. It was here before or after us. It is going to be just fine.
Feasible way for it to be fixed again. Words are air. They won't fix the vase. So the first step to making things better for other people and ourselves is accepting that we as regular people are limited in what we...
But he's not a regular person. Like, this is ridiculous. He's not a regular person. He's living a life of fantasy where he thinks he's an important intellectual YouTuber, the Aristotle of his time or something, but he's not. He's living basically rent-free in his wife's house while he wastes time all day on Discord, trying to think of funny things to say while he's in his bed because of his depression maxing or something. He's not living a regular person's... Like, he doesn't... Just get up and go to a job if you want to know what it is to be a regular person. Holy shit.
And we should accept that posting online about how things are going wrong and how they can be fixed is largely a placebo if we want to help and make some truly positive, meaningful...
It's not like talking about how the world can be changed or your political opinions isn't a placebo. It's just something you can enjoy doing. And it does actually change the political landscape. Because politics is just talking. And it kind of starts from like those dinner room conversations or chats with your friend, and it expands out into the community, and then it boils up to the surface where it actually becomes the policies. It doesn't matter if it's not a placebo. It's just something you can enjoy doing, but it does actually have very real consequences, provided you have good ideas that people listen to. I mean, if nobody listens to you and you're just screaming into the void and blaming the algorithm, then I guess you can think that it's a waste of time, but sure.
Changes, then that means taking action. Help people in need, even if that's
good advice, though. Do help people in need.
Go the extra mile and look up organizations that help those.
You know what's funny here? Is he's got some stock footage of volunteers Why doesn't he use some footage of himself volunteering? Oh, wait, that's right, because he hasn't done any volunteering, because that would be a waste of his precious time.
Those in need, like food banks and those in need of shelter. Research charities and donate to the ones in need of
Like,
your
just show a picture of himself in a soup kitchen. Like, he doesn't have a single picture of himself helping somebody else. Better download the stock footage. He's spending more on stock footage than he's spending on helping the homeless. I guarantee you that much.
help. Lend a stranger your ear when they're looking sad. Do something to make someone you love happy. Ask people if they need help. Try to get your loved ones involved in volunteering. Lend striking.
Why don't you volunteer? And then you'd have some pictures you could show.
Workers.
Don't just make up stories about giving a homeless guy a couple of dollars. Because you literally said he can't afford to give a homeless man $20. So we know it's like less than $10 basically. And most likely it's a couple of coins. This is loose change. This is pennies. It's like, here you go, buddy. Don't spend it all at once.
Support. Just anything that can make a tangible difference.
This stock footage is just so funny. It's funny for a few reasons, but mostly because he has no pictures of himself helping people. But I just love this, like, thank you, donation, clothing, donation. And you've got your ethically diverse couple here. Amazing.
In another human being's life when they really need it. We like to look at our countries and their people and conclude that they're full of evil.
All right, so his clock has now progressed to 4:13. Are we going to make it, chat? Do you think we're going to make it to the number?
Evil, vindictive people who only care about themselves.
But also he's giving away how many takes he's taking by having the clock in the corner, which is very funny.
And are so desperate to prosper that they'll willingly ruin the lives of innocent people to achieve those goals. I won't deny that those people do exist, not in massive numbers like many are led to believe, but they're around and they might even be living next door to you. If these people are intent on ruining the world, then it's up to us to make it.
People you don't like are trying to destroy the world and ruin it. If your political party doesn't win, they're going to try and destroy the world.
Better in some way, to show compassion towards fellow human beings who feel as though they've been abandoned and neglected, to demonstrate to those few who are happy to let evil win that they're wrong, not just with your words, but with your actions.
It's not just the opponent party. It's not just the opposite party. It's the evil party. It's literally, if your party doesn't win, it's evil. Okay, buddy.
I get why you feel like giving up. The times we're living in are absolutely exhausting, and I've grown tired of hearing and talking about selfish, power-hungry monsters that are hell-bent on making everything worse under the guise of fixing things. They say...
I mean, Trump just fixed genders. Now there's only 2 of them, male and female. I'm pretty happy with that result.
They'll fix the vase, but all they do is toss the shards into the trash and start punishing people for a crime they're innocent of. Then they'll tell their supporters that now all the bad people are gone.
Oh, we're up to 4:15, chat. Are we going to make it?
Everything will work out fine, even though the vase is now gone. I'm really running with this vase analogy. I think that deep
He's so
down,
proud about that.
You're also tired of all the talking and you want something to be done.
There's a lot of self-reports.
Would I like drastic change? Absolutely. I have to accept that it's not going to happen anytime soon, though. And even the biggest names on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, or elsewhere are completely incapable of making meaningful changes to the world at large.
Save me, Destiny. Save me, Hassan. You've got to change the world for me. I can't do anything because I didn't register to vote. I didn't become a citizen. I just stayed a permanent residence because my wife's allowed me to. Holy shit.
They're just people on the internet, and even phony philanthropy that gets tens of millions of views isn't enough to inspire change, regardless.
Tens of millions of views is absolutely enough to inspire change in the world. Like, a lot of these elections are won by... Oh, this is kind of funny. Hold on a second. Oh, never mind. A lot of these elections are won by 1 or 2%. The memes, the funny jokes, the small things absolutely add up. Make no mistake.
Of how many free homes they give to delivery drivers who definitely won't be able to afford the property taxes on them. Mr. Beast, with your bony smile, please.
It should be me. You rat, Mr. Beast, being successful. How dare you? I think Mr. Beast does pay the property taxes when he gives someone a house. If they do, I'm not sure, but that's kind of a lot of people do that. It's like Oprah typically was the one that didn't pay the tax on the cars, right? She gave away, so it was like a bill she was handing out to all of the people. But like, you can have there's absolutely criticism for Mr. Beast, but at least he's gone out there and actually built fucking wells in Africa. What have you done? Put on your suit and gone to bed.
Whenever you get the chance, do a little good. It may seem pointless in the grand scheme of things, but if you can't make change on the macro level, you can at the very least try to change things on the micro level.
Changes on the micro level affect the macro level. Does this man not even understand cause and effect? It's all connected. It's an ecosystem. Holy shit.
Worth making someone else's life better, even if they're a complete stranger. Kindness can be infectious, and that person that you helped might go on to help someone else. The world is unbearably harsh, even at the best of times, and kindness requires...
The world is unbearably harsh, even at the best of times. That is fucking bleak. Holy shit. Maybe he should stay in bed, because he's not prepared for the kitchen at this rate.
More effort than
418.
anger or indifference, but it's totally worth it. Things will get better in time. History has taught us that society as a whole veers towards more progressive ideals in the long run. It's hard to be patient while the world is falling apart, but it's still worth helping those in need in the meantime. If we're being real, like really real, then things will start improving once the boomers start dying off.
Whoa,
I don't feel great
buddy.
saying that, but there is truth to it. They're the most active.
Why did you just die, boomers? Oh my gosh. He's just going to lie in bed until the boomers die. But newsflash, when the boomers die, you're going to be old enough to be the new boomer. Okay? And then the young generation is going to be waiting for you to die.
Votes in the world, despite millennials being the largest voting bloc in history. But it's difficult for younger people to get out there and vote for change when their leadership options are so terrible and they barely have any free time thanks to all the overly demanding employers out there. Not all boomers are bad, but
some I assume are good people.
Really pine for the good old days a bit too much, and politicians love to sell that to them.
But he's criticizing the boomers for talking about the good old days, but he's literally said that we're living in the worst time in history. So then he's also pining for the good old days. He thinks that the world is getting worse and worse every day. Pirate Skeleton with another 5. Thank you very much. Biggs, why can't I highlight this chat? It's not coming up for me. Oh, there we go. I call this reverse projection. I believe in being good, therefore my opponents must believe in being evil, as opposed to just disagreeing. Very true. Very true.
No disrespect to your parents or grandparents, but once they're out of the equation, we might actually be able to get some stuff done. And to the boomers...
Wait. We did it, chat. Wait, hold on. I'm going to break out the crime lab. Oh, shit. What did I do there? Wrong one. Here we go. We did, yes. Enhance the bottom sector. Sector 12. 420. Let's fucking go. Smoke weed every day. We did it, chat. What does his cup say? Let's see. What does this say? My depression is a kitten? What? I think it says depression is a kitten. I don't know what this says. Oh no, depression is a bitch. I thought this was a kitten. Depression is a bitch. Do you something? Do I? I thought it said. I thought it said, "Do you KMS?" But I don't think it says that. I'm not exactly sure what this says. Someone maybe translate this for me. So am I. But depression is a bitch, but so am I. Okay, thank you, chat. You probably have an advantage reading that because of the zoomed out. You can see it more. I'm just too zoomed in. But we made it to 420, which means he's been in bed recording this last 10-minute segment for over 30 minutes. But also he made the meme number. So there you go.
In my life who are watching this, I'm not referring to you, and I hope you live forever. The world will get better, even if it doesn't feel like it will. But we can't just wait for it while there's so much left to be done.
Then why are you in bed? Go do something. Get busy. It's 3 minutes have passed since that last segment.
If you have other suggestions for ways in which people can help, then please leave them in the comments for others to see. But in the meantime,
Hey, look, I can't get out of bed and do anything. So why don't you leave your suggestions in the comment on how we can change the world, chat? Oh my God. So lazy. He can't even
take
think
care
for himself.
and be kind. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to do the like, do the sub, and do the comment so you can give the algorithm some delicious, succulent engagement. Ooh.
All right, let's have a look how his Patreon's doing. Does anyone remember how much he had last week when we checked in on him? Let's see. He's currently getting on Patreon. He's gone up one member. I remember it was at 169 before, so he's increased by one member since last week. And he's now earning $328 a month, which I think is exactly the same as he had last week. People saying it was, no, he's gone down. So he lost some big payers, but he gained back a couple of people that were paying smaller amounts. Oh, no. Oh, no. Say it ain't so, Salari. He has 100,000 subscribers, by the way. If you agree with Salari's takes, or you want to go enjoy a little bit of Schadenfreude at his expense, you can go over to Salari. He's got 116,000 subscribers, but he's suffering out there. He's struggling. He's got a 4-hour eps. Like, you can't even get this thing right. Like, holy shit. Like, this is so lazy. Look at this. 4 hours of Salari essays, the 2024 collection. But it's like, it's not even 4 hours. It's 3 hours and 54 minutes. Like, when he said working from home, you can make your own hours, it doesn't mean you get to literally make them up. If it says 4 hours, it better be fucking over 4 hours. Unbelievable. That's just lazy. But what should I be? I shouldn't be surprised. Oh dear. I love these Salari videos. Like, it's like a new gold mine for me. I think there's untapped potential. I haven't seen his Magnus opus yet, which was his video about Japan. Why are the Japanese so lonely? It got over 1 million views. So what happened in his career is he did one video that did really well. Well, actually, he did a couple of good videos. Right? He did this BoJack Horseman video, and it got almost 800,000 views. But if you get a lot of success very early on, it kind of tricks you into thinking you can make an actual career of it. And then when you don't get any of the views again in the future, now you're struggling. Like, his latest videos are like barely over to peak over. Looks like he's struggling to reach over 30,000 views per video. And I think per month, yeah, he doesn't even get 30,000 views a month. That's rough. That's rough, bro. He's lost 1,000 views, 1,000 subscribers since he put out his depression video. So I think what happened is he got tricked by YouTube. But he got like one video with 1 million views. He's like, well, I'm going to get 1 million views every video. And now he's here. Now he's here. I wonder if there's any interesting comments. Let's see. How can someone this pathetic exist? Get out of bed and get a job. Unbelievably based comment by Mr. Moshi. The Viking Bear, yes. Go home, Britbong. Hey, wait, this is you guys, right? This is probably people from my chat got over there. The idea of saving the world is such a Christian idea. We can fix a lot of problems, but to do so quickly, some of these will require more organization and different methods. Okay. This comment just says made. Yes, he needs some Canadian healthcare. Oh shit! I tried to zoom in with my scroll wheel. He needs some Canadian healthcare stat. Oh dear, dear, dear. Elon Space Karen Mux just did a blatant Nazi Heil Hitler salute. Outrageous. This is exactly how the Nazis came to do all the atrocities, the Holocaust, all of it. Most Germans don't like it, but kept quiet and did nothing. This is beyond outrageous. We can't just stand by and do nothing. Oh my goodness. Oh, he got a $2 super thanks. That's nice. He didn't even heart the comment. Like, whenever someone gives me a super thanks on my videos, I always heart and respond to it. I'm going to like this person because they gave money to him, even though he doesn't deserve it. But this is the same as like giving a couple bucks to the homeless man. Salari's just going to spend this on booze and more depression medication so he can have one moment of sleep and joy. Let me see if there's anything else fun here. That was a fun one, actually. I really enjoyed that. Let me see. You always show up when we need your wisdom the most. Oh, that's nice. Some people do like him. Is the world beyond saving? Yes. And this person responds, answering yes to that question makes it true. Very true. This person knows what they're talking about. Oh my goodness. Those are the news comments. What are the top comments, I wonder? I assume that he does have people that like him, right? Let's see. In the good old days, that's boomers long for just being young. Having worked with them for a few years, my biggest takeaway that it's important to not become bitter. That's very true. You shouldn't become bitter. All right. We might check in on Salari in the future. It was a lot of fun. All right. We'll go back to some more Trump stuff, I guess, chat.